I checked the camera to laugh at my wife in her pajamas. Instead, I called the police. My name is Ethan Carter. I'm 37 years old, a senior logistics coordinator based in Portland, Oregon. I've been married for 6 years to Sophie Carter, a graphic designer who works from home. She had small habits that used to make me smile, like leaving coffee cups in rooms she'd never return to, or arguing with our cat Milo as if he had real opinions. I loved her. Completely. Without hesitation. Without doubt. That Thursday morning felt like any other. Nothing out of place. Nothing unusual. She stopped me at the door just as I was about to leave for work. "Are you working until 8 tonight?" she asked casually. "Yeah, probably," I said. She leaned in, kissed my cheek, and smiled. I grabbed my keys, stepped out, and closed the door behind me. It was such a normal moment. So ordinary that I didn't even think twice about it. What I didn't tell her was that our apartment cameras had finally come back online the night before. For 11 days, they'd been down. Faulty wiring. A landlord who moved slower than cold honey. A technician who only showed up after multiple complaints. He came in on Wednesday while I was at work. Sophie had let him in, texted me afterward, all fixed. So Thursday at 10 a.m., sitting at my desk, I opened the security app. Just a quick check. 30 seconds. That's all I needed. The feed loaded. Sophie was in the living room. But something felt off immediately. She wasn't in her pajamas. Wasn't lounging on the couch. Wasn't doing any of the usual things I expected to see at that time of day. Instead, she was standing at the front door. And she was letting someone in. A man I had never seen before. He stepped inside carrying an empty duffel bag. Not a backpack. Not groceries. A duffel bag, light, flexible, meant to carry something out. Sophie closed the door behind him, but what she did next made my stomach tighten. She didn't just turn around and walk away. She paused. Looked down the hallway. Then the other direction. Like she was checking if anyone was watching. Like she didn't want witnesses. Then she pointed him toward our bedroom. No greeting. No conversation. No hesitation. It looked practiced. Rehearsed. Like this wasn't the first time. I froze. 4 seconds passed. For long, heavy, silent seconds where my brain tried to make sense of what I was seeing, and failed. Then instinct kicked in. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911. The operator picked up almost instantly. "I'm watching my apartment camera right now," I said, keeping my voice low. My office was open plan, coworkers just a few feet away. I couldn't let them hear the panic building in my chest. "There's a man inside. My wife let him in." "Is your wife in danger, sir?" I looked back at the screen. Sophie had followed the man into the bedroom. She wasn't scared. She wasn't trying to stop him. She wasn't even confused. She was opening the closet. Pulling boxes down. Handing them to him one by one like she was helping a friend move. Calm. Efficient. Focused. Like this was planned. Like this was normal. My grip tightened around the phone. "No," I said slowly, the words feeling strange as they left my mouth. "She's helping him." There was a pause on the other end of the line. A heavy, loaded silence. Then the operator spoke again, more serious this time. "Sir, can you confirm your address?" I gave it. But my eyes never left the screen. Because whatever was happening inside my apartment was only just beginning. I stayed on the call with the operator, but everything around me started to fade. The office noise, the quiet typing of coworkers, the distant ringing of phones, none of it mattered anymore. My entire world had shrunk down to the screen in front of me. The man moved through our bedroom like he had done it before. Not rushed. Not careless. Precise. He opened drawers one by one. Checked inside without making a mess. Closed them quietly. Moved to the nightstand. Then the dresser. Every motion controlled, deliberate. Like he knew exactly where to look, and exactly what he was looking for. Sophie stayed close behind him. Not watching him like a stranger. Not questioning him. Helping him. She opened the closet before he even asked. Reached up to the top shelf and pulled down storage boxes we hadn't touched in months. She handed them to him one by one, barely speaking, like this was a routine they had practiced together. My chest tightened. This wasn't a break-in. This wasn't panic. This wasn't confusion. This was cooperation. "Sir, units are on the way," the operator said in my ear. "Stay on the line with me." "I'm watching them," I replied quietly. The man reached the upper shelf of the closet, the one spot I always thought was out of sight. Out of reach. Safe. That's where I kept the lockbox. He didn't hesitate. Didn't search for it. Didn't struggle. He reached up, grabbed it, and pulled it down like he already knew exactly where it was. My heart dropped. He didn't force it open. Didn't even check if it was locked. He simply placed it into the duffel bag. Like a man collecting something that already belonged to him. He knew. Because she told him. My fingers tightened around my phone. My mouth felt dry. That lockbox wasn't random. It held everything important, my passport, emergency cash, my grandfather's watch, the car documents. Not things someone would stumble upon. Things someone would only know about, if they'd been told. "Sir, can you still see your wife?" "Yes," I said, barely above a whisper. "She's right next to him." Sophie didn't look nervous. Didn't look guilty. She looked focused. Calm. Efficient. Like she was completing a task. A few seconds later, my coworker Ryan walked up beside my desk. "Ethan, the Henderson call starts in 4 minutes, I looked up at him. Whatever expression was on my face made him stop mid-sentence. "Cancel it," I said flatly. He didn't argue. Just nodded and walked away. On the screen, the man zipped the duffel bag halfway. Then paused, scanning the room one last time. Not for valuables, for anything he might have missed. Sophie stood near the door, waiting. Timing it. When he finished, they walked back toward the front door together. She reached for the handle, but before opening it, she did the same thing again, looked down the hallway. Both directions. Careful. Alert. Then she opened the door. He stepped out first. And then, she hugged him. I leaned closer to the screen. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't rushed. It was something else entirely. Familiar. Grateful. The kind of hug you give someone who just helped you accomplish something important. Something planned. Something successful. The door closed behind him. And just like that, he was gone. The entire thing had taken less than 20 minutes. But it felt like my entire life had just been emptied out, one item at a time. I sat there in silence, still holding the phone to my ear, still watching the now empty living room. And one thought kept repeating in my head. This wasn't random. This wasn't sudden. This had been happening for a long time. And I had never seen it. The call with the operator ended, but I didn't move. I just sat there, staring at the empty frame of my living room. The door closed. Silence. Like nothing had ever happened. But everything had. My phone buzzed. A message from Sophie. Milo just knocked my coffee off the counter faced with tears of joy. Total chaos here. I stared at the text for a long time. My mind struggled to process it. She was joking. Sending me updates about the cat, while the evidence of what she had just done was already walking out of our building in a duffel bag. I typed slowly. Ho, classic Milo. Sent. My hands felt cold. Then I opened my banking app. Joint checking account, normal. Joint savings, normal. For a brief second, I almost felt relief. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe this was something else. Something explainable. Then I opened my personal account. The one Sophie didn't have access to. The one I used as an emergency fund. The number didn't look right. I refreshed the screen. Same balance. Lower than it should be. My stomach tightened. I opened the transaction history. Latest transaction, yesterday. Wire transfer, $23,400. Outgoing. I didn't recognize the destination account. My breathing slowed, but not in relief, in control. I scrolled up. Another transfer. $8,200. Before that, $6,500. Before that, $4,000. Spread over 6 weeks. Small enough to go unnoticed. Large enough to matter. This wasn't a one-time theft. This was a system. A plan. She hadn't just betrayed me today. She had been doing this, quietly, for weeks. Maybe longer. I stood up without saying anything to anyone. Grabbed my keys and walked out of the office. No explanations. No goodbyes. The elevator felt too slow, so I took the stairs. Each step echoing louder than it should. By the time I reached the parking garage, my chest felt tight, but my mind was clearer than it had ever been. I got into my car. Didn't start the engine. Just sat there. Opened the camera footage again. Watched it from the beginning. The man arriving. Sophie opening the door. The hallway check. The silent directions. The bedroom. The lockbox. The duffel bag. The hub. Gone. I checked the timestamp. 4 minutes, 17 seconds. That's all it took. 6 years of marriage, reduced to 4 minutes and 17 seconds of footage. I leaned back in my seat, staring at the screen. Not angry. Not yelling. Just empty. Then my phone rang. The bank. I answered immediately. Fraud department, a calm female voice said. This is Melissa speaking. I explained everything. Slowly. Clearly. Every transaction. Every detail. There was a pause as she checked the account. Longer than it should have been. Mr. Carter, she said carefully, these transactions were authorized using your credentials. My grip tightened. What do you mean? Correct password. Correct PIN. Security questions answered accurately. My mind raced. That's not possible. There's more, she added. The transfers were initiated from a device connected to your home Wi-Fi network. Silence. My house. My network. My system. Sophie's laptop. She didn't hack anything. She didn't break in. She watched me. Learn everything. Waited. I need you to freeze everything, I said, my voice steady now. All accounts. Joint and individual. Immediately. I can do that, sir. Do it now. A few seconds passed. It's done. I ended the call. And just sat there. Something inside me shifted. Past the shock. Past the confusion. Past the pain. Into something colder. More focused. She asked me this morning if I'd be working until 8. Not out of care. Not out of love. But because she needed time. 7 hours. That's what she thought she had. I looked at the clock. 11:23 a.m. Which meant I had the rest of the day to find out who my wife really was. I didn't go home. Not yet. Every instinct told me to drive straight there, to confront Sophie, to demand answers. But something deeper, quieter, held me back. If what I'd seen was real, then walking in unprepared would be the worst mistake I could make. So instead, I drove across town to someone I trusted. Ryan Cole. We'd been friends since college. These days, he ran a private investigation firm out of Southeast Portland. The kind of work that dealt with missing people, hidden identities, quiet truths no one wanted uncovered. I parked outside his office and sat in the car for a moment, gripping the steering wheel. Then I went inside. Ryan opened the door himself. Took one look at my face, and didn't ask a single question. He just stepped aside and let me in. That was enough. I pulled out my phone and showed him the footage. He watched it once. Then again. Then a third time. No reaction. No shock. Just stillness. Focus. The kind that comes from experience. Finally, he paused the video on the man's face near the front door. I've seen this before, he said quietly. I looked at him. You know him? Not personally, Ryan replied. But the behavior, that's not random. He rewound slightly, pointing at the screen. Look at how he moves. Checks the hallway before entering. Doesn't touch surfaces unnecessarily. Goes room to room in a pattern. That's not a thief. My chest tightened. Then what is he? Ryan looked at me directly. That's a targeted extraction. The words settled heavily in the room. He didn't come to steal whatever he could find, Ryan continued. He came for specific items. Things he already knew about. I swallowed. The lockbox, what was inside it? I listed everything. Passport. Cash. My grandfather's watch. Car documents. Ryan's expression changed slightly when I mentioned the passport. Your wife, he said slowly. Where is she originally from? Denver, I answered. Why? He didn't reply immediately. Instead, he turned to his computer and started typing. Fast. Focused. He opened databases I didn't recognize. Government records. Identity registries. Background systems far deeper than anything I had access to. He typed in Sophie's full name. Date of birth. Location. We waited. 30 seconds passed. Then he leaned back slightly and turned the screen toward me. Nothing. No records. No results. I frowned. That doesn't make sense. Try again. He did. Different variations. Full name. Middle name. State databases. DMV records. Still nothing. Ryan exhaled slowly. Ethan, your wife doesn't exist. The words didn't register at first. What? There are no official records under her identity. No birth certificate. No licensing history. Nothing that ties her to a real, verifiable person. I shook my head. That's not possible. I married her. I know, he said calmly. But whatever identity she's using, it's not real. My stomach dropped. Check her social security number, I said quickly. It's on our tax returns. He entered it. This time, something came up. But it wasn't what I expected. Ryan stared at the screen for a few seconds before speaking. The number is real, he said. Relief flickered, then disappeared when he continued. But it doesn't belong to her. I felt my chest tighten. Who does it belong to? He turned the screen toward me again. A name. A date. A girl. 16 years old. Did. Her name was Sophie Ann Carter, Ryan said quietly. Died in 2003. Silence filled the room. My thoughts scrambled, trying to catch up. She's using a dead person's identity, Ryan continued. It's called ghosting. You take the identity of someone who died young, before records were fully digital. You rebuild it. Slowly. Carefully. No one alive to contradict you. I sat down heavily. 6 years, I muttered. Ryan nodded. And probably longer. This kind of setup takes time. Planning. Resources. Which meant she wasn't new to this. She had been someone else, long before she became my wife. And everything I thought I knew about her was a lie. I stared at the screen, but the words didn't feel real. Did. 16 years old. And the name I had lived with for 6 years belonged to someone who had died decades ago. I leaned back in the chair, my mind struggling to catch up. This doesn't make sense, I said quietly. I've lived with her. I married her. We filed taxes together. Ryan didn't argue. He just nodded slightly. That's how this works, he said. The identity is clean. No active records, no contradictions. She builds everything from scratch, credit history, documents, lifestyle. Over time, it becomes real enough that no one questions it. I ran a hand over my face. So, everything was fake. Not everything, Ryan replied. Just the foundation. That somehow made it worse. Because it meant the life we had, the memories, the conversations, they were real. But the person behind them wasn't. Ryan turned back to his computer, typing again. Ethan, I need to ask you something, he said carefully. I looked up. Your father passed away recently, right? I froze. Yeah. 8 months ago. And his estate. Finalized about 3 weeks ago. Ryan stopped typing. slowly turned toward me. Where are those documents? My heart skipped. At home, I said. In the filing cabinet. We both went silent. The footage replayed in my head instantly. Bedroom. Closet. Boxes. Lockbox. Duffel bag. Ryan stood up quickly. You can't go back there alone, he said firmly. I have to, no. His voice was sharper now. If she's who I think she is, this isn't just theft. This is a pattern. A system. And people like this don't work alone. My chest tightened. What are you saying? I'm saying you were a target, Ryan said. From the beginning. The words hit harder than anything else. Not a mistake. Not a bad decision. A plan. A setup. 6 years of my life, chosen. Built. Designed. Ryan picked up his phone and dialed a number without hesitation. Who are you calling? I asked. Someone who needs to see this, he replied. The call connected on the second ring. Detective Harris, Ryan said calmly. I've got something you need to hear. He handed me the phone without explanation. I took it, my grip tightening. Hello. Go ahead, Ryan said quietly. So I did. I explained everything. The cameras. The man. The lockbox. The bank transfers. The identity. 4 minutes. Non-stop. The detective didn't interrupt once. When I finished, there was silence. 3 seconds. Exactly. Then he spoke. Mr. Carter, can you send me a clear image of your wife right now? I pulled a still frame from the camera footage. Sent it. We waited. 30 seconds passed. Then his voice came back. Different now. Slower. More careful. I'm looking at her, he said. My stomach dropped. In our system. I gripped the phone tighter. What do you mean? Another pause. Longer this time. The kind that changes everything. We know her under a different name, Detective Harris said. Actually, multiple names. My chest felt tight. What's her real name? A brief silence. Then, Natalie Cross. The room felt colder. Before that, she went by Elena Marsh. And before that, 2 other identities we're still pulling. I couldn't speak. Mr. Carter, he continued, his tone now serious, controlled. Your wife is wanted in 2 states, Nevada and Arizona. Every word hit harder than the last. Charges include identity theft, estate fraud, and conspiracy. My grip tightened around the phone. How long? I managed to ask. There was a pause. Then the answer came. Over 11 years. 11 years. I closed my eyes for a second. 6 of those years. She had been my wife. Not just lying. Living a completely different life behind mine. And suddenly, everything made sense. The timing. The planning. The question that morning. Are you working until 8? She wasn't asking out of love. She was calculating. And now. She was gone. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the same image, her standing there in the dim hallway, wearing those same pale blue pajamas, her expression empty, almost wrong. Not scared. Not confused. Just hollow. By morning, the police had left. They said there was no sign of forced entry, no evidence of anyone else in the house. According to them, it was just a domestic misunderstanding. But I knew better. Because my wife, Elena, had been gone for 3 days. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at my phone. The video from the security camera played on loop. I had watched it at least 50 times already, trying to catch something, anything, I might have missed. At exactly 2:13 a.m., the hallway camera flickered. Then she appeared. Not walking in. Not coming from a room. Just there. Like she had always been standing in that exact spot. My hands trembled as I paused the video again. I zoomed in, focusing on her face. That's when I noticed something new. Her eyes. They weren't looking at the camera. They were looking slightly past it. At something behind it. A cold wave ran down my spine. I slowly turned my head toward the hallway in real life, following the same angle. The camera was mounted above the coat rack. Which meant, in the video, she was staring directly at the wall behind it. Or, at whatever might be there. I stood up slowly, my heart pounding so loudly it felt like it would burst out of my chest. Step by step, I walked toward the hallway. Everything felt too quiet. Too still. When I reached the camera, I hesitated. My fingers hovered over the wall behind it. It looked normal, just plain white paint. Nothing unusual. Still, something didn't feel right. I pressed against it. At first, nothing happened. Then, a soft click. I froze. Slowly, almost unwillingly, I pushed harder. The wall shifted. Not much. Just enough to reveal a thin gap. My breath caught in my throat. There was a hidden door. I stepped back, my mind racing. This house. I had lived here for 5 years. How could I not know about this? My pulse hammered as I gripped the edge of the panel and pulled. The door creaked open. Darkness stared back at me. A narrow passage stretched beyond, descending into what looked like a basement, or something deeper. A smell hit me immediately. Damp. Stale. Rotting. I gagged, covering my nose, but I couldn't look away. Elena. I called out, my voice barely more than a whisper. No answer. Just silence. But then, sound. Faint. From below. A slow, dragging noise. My chest tightened. Every instinct screamed at me to run, to get out of the house and never come back. But I couldn't. Not without knowing. Not without her. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and stepped inside. The door shut behind me with a heavy thud. I spun around instantly, panic surging, but the handle was still there. Still openable. Still. I didn't like that it had closed on its own. I swallowed hard and forced myself forward. The passage was narrow, the walls rough and unfinished. It felt older than the house itself, like it had been hidden there for decades, maybe longer. Step by step, I descended. The air grew colder. Heavier. That dragging sound came again. Closer now. Hello. I called out, louder this time. Still no answer. Just that same noise. And then, you whisper. So faint I almost thought I imagined it. Marcus, my blood turned to ice. It was her voice. Elena. I rushed forward, nearly slipping on the uneven steps. The passage opened into a small underground room. And what I saw there made my entire world collapse. She was sitting in the corner. Hands tied. Head lowered. Her hair messy, her face pale. Elena. I ran toward her, dropping to my knees. Oh my God, she didn't move. Didn't react. Slowly, she lifted her head. And smiled. Not with relief. Not with recognition. But with something else. Something wrong. Something that didn't belong to her. Behind me, the dragging sound stopped. I felt it before I heard it. Something else was in the room. Watching. Waiting. And I realized, with a horrifying certainty, the woman in front of me might look like my wife. But whatever was standing behind me was the reason she was never supposed to come back. I didn't turn around. Every instinct told me to, but something deeper, something primal, screamed not to. Elena sat in front of me, her wrists bound, her head tilted slightly as that unnatural smile stretched across her face. Her eyes locked onto mine, unblinking. Marcus, she whispered again, softer this time. You came. My throat tightened. Elena, it's me. I'm here. I'm going to get you out of this. Her smile widened. You shouldn't have. A chill shot through me. Behind me, I heard it again, that slow, deliberate movement. Not quite footsteps. More like something dragging itself across the ground, inch by inch. I clenched my fists, forcing myself to stay focused. I reached for the rope around Elena's wrists. My hands shook as I tried to untie it. Don't, she said suddenly. I froze. Her voice had changed. It was still hers, but layered. Like two voices speaking at once, slightly out of sync. You don't understand, she continued, her head twitching unnaturally. It watches. It learns. My breathing grew shallow. What are you talking about? Who did this to you? Her eyes flicked past me, toward the thing behind me. Then back to me. A tear slipped down her cheek. For just a second, she looked like herself again. Marcus, please, she whispered, her voice breaking. Don't turn around. Too late. The sound behind me stopped completely. Silence flooded the room. And in that silence, I felt it, right behind me. Close. So close I could feel its breath. Hot. Rotting. Slowly, against every warning, I turned. At first, I saw nothing. Just darkness. Then my phone's flashlight flickered. And it stepped forward. I wish I could say it looked like something human. It didn't. Its body was wrong, too long, its limbs bending in places they shouldn't. Its skin looked stretched, pale and thin, like it didn't quite fit whatever was underneath. And its face. Its face was still forming. Like it was trying to become something. Someone. My stomach dropped as I realized what I was looking at. It was copying. Learning. From us. From her. From me. It tilted its head, studying me with empty, shifting features. Then, slowly, its mouth split open into a smile. The same smile Elena had just given me. My legs nearly gave out. Elena, I whispered, backing away. But when I turned back to her, she was standing. The ropes were gone. Her head tilted in the exact same way as the thing behind me. Mirroring it. Or maybe, it was mirroring her. You see now, she said softly. No, I shook my head, stumbling back. No, this isn't real. This can't be real. It needed a way out, she continued, her voice calm, too calm. It found me. The creature took another step closer. I backed into the wall. Trapped. It learned my voice first, she said. Then my face. Her smile twitched. And now, it wants yours. The flashlight flickered again. For a split second, everything went dark. And in that darkness, I felt something cold brush against my cheek. I gasped, swinging my phone wildly as the light returned. The creature was right in front of me now. Its face, clearer. Closer to human. Closer to mine. No. I shouted, pushing past it, grabbing Elena's arm. We're leaving. Now. For a moment, she resisted. Then suddenly, she tightened her grip on my hand. Hard. Too hard. Bones grinding. I cried out in pain. Marcus, she whispered, her face inches from mine. And for the first time since I'd found her. She looked terrified. Run. I didn't hesitate. I ripped my hand free and sprinted toward the stairs, my heart pounding, footsteps echoing behind me. Not one set. Two. I didn't look back. I couldn't. I burst through the hidden door, slamming it shut behind me. I shoved a chair against it, then another, my hands shaking uncontrollably. Silence. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a soft knock. From the other side. 3 slow taps. I held my breath. Then her voice came true. Soft. Broken. Marcus, please, don't leave me down here. Tears filled my eyes. My hand hovered over the door. But then, another voice joined hers. The same words. Perfectly in sync. I stepped back. And that's when I understood. One of them was my wife. The other wasn't. And if I opened that door,